Let's dive right into what is honestly a fascinating exchange. One perfectly captures this intense, high-stakes rivalry between the US and China over AI and semiconductor chips. We're going to break down a recent, highly specific journalistic inquiry that was dropped right into a live press briefing. We'll look at the exact claims, the specific wording used, and, just as importantly, the strategic, formal positioning of the official response. It's like a masterclass in reading between the lines of international trade and tech policy. Here is our roadmap for this breakdown. First up, the press briefing inquiry itself. Number 2, we'll examine the core allegations. Third, we're looking at United States export controls. And finally, number 4, the official response and stance. Let's get into it. Section 1, the press briefing inquiry. Now, if you've ever watched a live, formal press briefing, you know that the questions are rarely accidental. They are very carefully engineered. This particular inquiry from a Reuters reporter kicks off with a massive anchor. They cite information coming directly from a senior Trump administration official. Right out of the gate, the reporter isn't just tossing out some internet rumor, right? They're tying the premise of their question to a high-level government source. This immediately signals to everyone in the room that this is serious business. It establishes the immense geopolitical gravity of what's about to be asked. Moving right along to Section 2, examining the core allegations. What's really striking here is the sheer level of granularity. The reporter essentially builds a very specific 3-part case centered entirely around the Chinese firm DeepSeek. First, they allege that DeepSeek's latest AI model was trained using Nvidia's most advanced hardware, literally naming the highly coveted Blackwell chip. Second, they assert that these chips are likely clustered at a very specific location, DeepSeek's Inner Mongolia data center. So think about that. We have a specific company, a specific piece of restricted hardware, and a specific geographical location, all bundled into one loaded premise. Which brings us to Section 3, United States export controls. Okay, so here is the absolute crux of the dilemma. On one side, you have this technological reality. The reporter states that the U.S. believes DeepSeek will actively remove technical indicators. Essentially, they're accused of masking the digital footprints that prove American AI chips were used. But on the other side, you have the legal framework. Acquiring and using these Nvidia Blackwell chips could directly violate strict U.S. export controls. So this isn't just an accusation of using restricted hardware, it's an accusation of actively engineering a workaround to hide that usage and bypass international trade laws. After laying out all those dense, specific claims, the source, the company, the chip, the masking techniques, the reporter distills the whole shebang into a very direct question. They ask if the intelligence is accurate, sure, but then they follow up with this. Are there methods for any Chinese firms to use Blackwell chips that do not violate the export controls? Is a brilliant question, actually. It directly challenges the spokesperson to clarify the very boundaries of technical compliance. They're basically asking, is there any legal, sanctioned way to do this under the current rules? And finally, Section 4, official response and stance. So how does the government spokesperson handle this barrage of hyper-specific allegations? Well, she adopts a strictly formal tone, exactly what you'd expect in a live official briefing. Her very first move is to state plainly that she is not aware of the specific situation mentioned by the reporter. In the world of international diplomacy, this is a highly standard textbook method to essentially neutralize a granular question. It allows her to step past the server locations and chip models without actually confirming or denying the U.S. intelligence. But she doesn't stop there. She instantly pivots from the micro details right back to the macro policy. She states, and I quote, "Regarding the issue of U.S. chips, China has repeatedly stated its principled position. Instead of getting bogged down in the weeds of Blackwell chips or mass digital footprints, she highlights the existing official stance. She anchors her response entirely in China's overarching trade policy, reminding everyone in that press room of the broader geopolitical context. It is a perfect example of formal briefing strategy. You address the topic, but you do it on your own broader terms." So, a highly specific technical question gets met with a broad, principled diplomatic stance. And with those official specifics regarding legal usage and technical masking left completely unanswered on the briefing room floor, it leaves us with a pretty massive question. As AI capabilities continue to rapidly advance, how on earth will the tension between technical innovation and international export controls ultimately be resolved? I mean, how does the global community successfully navigate this intense regulatory rivalry when the technology is clearly moving faster than the policy? It's a huge puzzle and definitely something to keep a close eye on. Thanks for joining us for this breakdown.